What is your mind really? Nobody knows for sure. Everything is reflected through our minds. And yet it's the last place on earth the average person will turn to for help.
All I wanted to do was share the secret with the world.
You, me, or nobody is going to hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done.
Nothing new can come into your life unless you're grateful for what you already have.
One of the great areas that almost everyone makes, they're attempting to change something outside of themselves without changing what's going on inside.
It's because they never learned to think. Now that is a fact, believe it or not.
And that, my friend, is
The strangest secret in the world.
because I got something to say. What up, everybody? I want to thank you so much for joining us here. Is This Thing On, the podcast here on the Justice Network. And today I have a special guest with me. She is an entrepreneur out here from Sacramento. She is the founder and CEO of Our Daughter's Destiny, which is changing lives for helping people be re-entered into society. And then she's also more than that. She's more of a serial entrepreneur. So everybody, please give it up for my special guest, Cherell Howze.
Hello.
What up? How you doing today?
Good. How are you?
I am outstanding. Thank you so much for joining me here on the show. It's a pleasure. Let's start off by you just introducing yourself, letting everybody know, who you are and what you stand for and what you got going on.
Yes. Like Carl said, I am a serial entrepreneur, but more than anything, I am just a woman of purpose. I am the founder and CEO of Our Daughter's Destiny, which is a reentry service. So we help the formerly incarcerated get out and find resources in the community. We want to make sure that they are financially and emotionally stable. So, which is something that was lacking in the community before when I started it back in 2016. Yeah. So we're making sure that we are in the community, giving back, helping those, and making sure that society is welcoming to that target population. Nice. So I have that. I also have an online boutique, and I do business consulting.
Nice. So let's back it up just a little bit. Let's hear a little bit about your story. Let us know a little bit about you, how you got into the reentry services. How did you even become an entrepreneur in the beginning? Because that right there is something that this channel is based on, number one. And it's just tough. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then being a woman, and then being a woman of color.
Yes.
What kind of things are you facing when it comes to that? So let's go back to the beginning.
Yeah.
How did you start, and why did you start Our Daughter's Destiny?
I started Our Daughter's Destiny because I needed the services. I had gotten a little bit of a squabble, if you will, but I ended up having to do time.
Okay.
But when I got out, I had lost everything. Yeah. Mind you, I wasn't familiar with the system. I wasn't a troublemaker. I was actually going to school to study criminal justice.
Yes.
I was a full-time worker. I was in financing. I had a child. I was a new mom. And I had to go away for 6 months. So coming back and losing everything. I lost my job because of my record. I lost my house because of my record.
Wow.
I lost finances in order to pay for school because of my record. So I was getting out and having to start over. Not only starting over, but I lost my family dynamic. My daughter didn't even recognize who I was. So
how old was your daughter at the time?
When I got out, she was 2. So when I went in, she's about 1.5.
A lot can change in 6 months, though, right?
A lot can change. I missed a birthday. And of course, during that time, children are just picking up on whatever is around them. So at that time, my brother's girlfriend was actually there for her. So she started calling her mom.
Oh, wow.
So she didn't have any type of connection to me at all. So that hurt me more than anything. So dealing with that, dealing with the emotions that comes with that, right? And then on top of that, being at square one, not being able to provide for her financially. So that really, it hit me because they leave you with this list of resources or these places to go for you to be able to be successful. But unfortunately, those resources are actually all out of funds, no longer giving out services, or they only serve men. So
Wow.
I decided once I kind of figured out the blueprint to it all, I would kind of go back and serve the women who are like me, who don't want to go back, who want to be productive, who were being productive before even serving time.
Yeah.
So I did that. So I got out 2014, 2015. I started my business. 2016, it picked up.
Wow. Wow. Let's give you a round of applause for that. And I'm gonna give you some air horns too. That's really impressive, man. Shout out to Tribulation Kids in the chat right now. That's a really good friend of mine too. He's a hell of a supporter. And I know this information will be very insightful for him as well. But okay, so let's talk about just the starting of that, right? So when you were starting this up and you were deciding to try to get this thing off of the ground, like what did you do? Like who did you contact? Like how did you even think that this was something that was right for you?
Well, I knew that it was my purpose, right? I knew that I had a calling to serve that target population. I knew that my jail time was way beyond me,
Mm-hmm.
had nothing to do with me, really. It was a way for me to find my calling and for me to serve.
Yeah.
So once I figured that out, I knew that there had to be a business structure behind it in order for me to go into the prisons, go,
Gotcha.
contract with the city, state, things of that nature. So I just did my research. And some of that research wasn't right, and I took a few L's, but it's all a part of being an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
You do, and then you do again until
Yep.
you get it right.
There you go.
So that's exactly what I did. I
Nice.
just did my research, went down to the state of California controller's office, figured out what I needed to do, went down to H Street, did my fictitious business name, like the whole spiel. And then found out later on that I had a couple penalties for not doing things right. But and then I learned. So I just did my research.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the important thing that I try to tell people too, because a lot of people, I call it paralysis by analysis, right? So they sit there and they try to focus on trying to make things completely perfect, which nothing is perfect. And then the ones that try to make things perfect, they end up doing nothing, right? Instead, the best way to do it is just go do it. It may cost you a little bit of money, at the beginning, but you'll know exactly what it is. Even if you don't know how to run a business, failure is going to teach you how to run a business, right? You're going to run into things. You have to pay some money.
Exactly.
Again, money is the ultimate teacher, because that's what got me. It'll teach you. And then all of a sudden you're this business owner. You know what I mean? You fast forward a little while, you're this business owner. So let's fast forward a little bit and let's talk a little bit about being in business, and then some of the struggles being a woman, but not only a woman, an African American or a Black woman in today's society, or even just, because business most of the time is dominated by men. You would think, if I guess you could say that.
Yeah.
But how has that affected you in business, being a Black woman dealing in this world?
Well, to be honest with you, it's a blessing and a curse.
Yeah.
And I say that because it's a blessing because we're popping right now.
Mhm.
Needless to say, beyond anything that's going on with politics, people want to serve our people.
Mhm.
So in that aspect, it is a blessing because there's more funding opportunities that weren't
Nice.
available for us before. There's more loan opportunities that were available, for us before. So that is a blessing in that aspect. But it's also a curse because we already go into or we step into a room with people thinking that we're not capable.
Yeah.
Right. So you kind of have to show up and show out, but without being so aggressive, because then, especially in my case, I'm an angry Black woman. Right.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of strategic moves that I have to do that the average person or average male, average white male wouldn't have to do.
Yeah.
But it's been, especially when it comes to networking in my industry, it's been helpful being a Black woman.
Yeah.
Because people look at me like, oh, okay, she's doing this. I want to hear what she has to say.
Yeah.
And trust me, I have no problem saying what needs to be done, or saying what I need, right, to give back to my people. So it's a blessing and a curse, but you do have to move, unfortunately, have to move more strategic when you are a Black person or you are a Black woman in this business.
Yeah. So let's talk about. Okay, so when you first started, was it as popping as it is now? Because we know the world is kind of trendy, right? So when you first started in 2015 and 2016, thought about it in 2015, right? Launched it in 2016. Was it as popping then as it is now? We know there's trends that people catch on to, and definitely being black, being in business is trendy. But what I see is a lot of traps, because there's a lot of things out there that's giving people wrong information. I look down my timeline, there's people on there, and there's black men on there telling people, start 3 LLCs, get three $500,000 loans, and then you're a millionaire. Okay, well, the very definition of a loan is something that you're going to have to pay back. You're going to have collateral, and you're going to have some sort of assets in order to get that type of money anyway. You're going to have to show that you've been in business for a certain amount of time, and then a whole bunch of other stuff that they don't say. So my question is to you, what's the difference between 2016 and then 2023 being a black woman in business?
I would say, well, you're absolutely right. Right now, as of right now, we're trending,
Yeah.
right? Being a black business owner is cool, it's trendy. They're willing to give us money. They want us to sign up for those LLCs. LLCs in 2023 are actually free right now for you to sign up, but there's a catch to it, right? Because if you aren't knowledgeable, if you don't do your research, and if you just want to get quick rich, which is what unfortunately our culture kind of highlights, right? You'll fall in a trap to where if you don't have a plan, having an LLC does cost $800 a year.
Yeah.
They don't put that out there. Once you start, it's very hard to dissolve it. So the difference would be right now we're trending. Back then, absolutely not. Back then, I was just getting it out the mud however I could.
Yeah.
But I wasn't, I was very humble.
Yeah.
I was okay being a student. I was okay learning, and I was okay stepping into big rooms and saying, "Hey, I want to do what you do." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was a humbling experience. It was hard, but I had the heart for it.
Yeah.
You know, I was going into rooms that I once was in, but as an inmate.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I was going and I was having meetings with sheriffs that denied me health care, you know, when I was
Wow.
formerly incarcerated.
Yeah.
So it's humbling. And I would just say that the difference would be 2016. I kind of had to go in with my tail tucked a little bit and be humble and kind of learn. But now people want to learn from us because we
Gotcha.
are trending.
Yeah.
We are the platform. You know, we are
Yeah.
creating our own platforms. So we are creating the rooms to walk in, you know.
you
So
go.
I would say that would be the big difference between it and now.
Yeah, for sure. So let's talk a little bit about, you just made a comment about entrepreneurship and then how hard it is. And some people, they never really get to experience how hard it is because they just dip in and then they're out. They dip in, and you know what I mean? Then they don't really stay with one thing long enough to actually see it succeed or even go through any of the struggles.
Yeah.
I say you have to be built for this, and that's 100%. It's something that I've known personally. I'm sure you've experienced it.
Absolutely.
And every other entrepreneur that I've spoken with, they've experienced it as well. Not the dibble dabbers, but the actual ones that stick with something long enough. So what type of, okay, so being a woman and just creating that lane,
Yeah.
how have the struggles actually made you stronger? You know what I mean? Because sometimes you'll go through an obstacle and then you actually learn from it and then you find a way around it. So how has it hardened you for business to be with the person that you are today?
Yeah. It strengthened my faith, and it strengthened my walk with God because it's way bigger than me.
Yeah.
And that's what I had to figure out.
Nice.
This purpose is way bigger than me. And a lot of entrepreneurships, they are purpose driven.
Yeah.
You know? So you have to stay focused. You have to remember your call and remember what you're trying to do and what you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
But that can be hard because
Yes.
life happens, right? Bills happen. People, you know, things might have come into the business with you and they're supportive, but then they fall off.
Yeah.
Thank goodness I had two amazing friends who rock with me from 2015 till this day. You
Nice.
know, and they had never been formally incarcerated, nothing of that nature, but they just wanted to see their friend succeed in whatever she wanted to do.
Nice.
So I would say it helped me build my faith. It helped me be a better person because it allowed me to kind of take the back seat and just let God do his work, but just use me as a vessel.
Yeah.
But it also made me more not take no BS.
Yeah.
You know, because once again, it's way bigger than me. It's not
Yep.
about me. So when someone kind of attacks me or tries to get me distracted, like I'm so focused, I'm so serious about my goal and what I'm doing and what
Mhm.
I'm trying to achieve. So
Yeah.
it taught me discipline for sure.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this, because you keep giving me these buzzwords, and these buzzwords are what I stand for. Goal.
Yes.
That's like my favorite everything.
Yeah.
Everything has to have a goal, no matter what it is that you're doing. Even when you're waking up to tie your put your pants on, the goal is to put your pants on. People don't realize how automatic and how goal oriented we are just naturally, right?
Yeah.
How has goals actually? Okay, let me rewind. Was there a time where you didn't set goals for your business, and then was there a time where you started to set goals for your business, and were you able to see the difference?
Yeah. When I didn't set goals, I got distracted.
Yeah.
When I got distracted, I failed.
Mm.
Goals keeps you focused and you're able to analyze your business. You're able to see when and how you need to pivot in your business because it won't always look the same.
Yeah.
Me, for myself personally, I set daily goals, I set monthly goals, and then I set yearly goals.
Nice.
I set daily goals, and that really doesn't have a number. It's okay, talk to 5 people, email 5 people, network, get 5 new clients. And I set monthly goals that have a dollar amount set to it. And
There
then
you
I
go.
have a yearly goal that has a dollar amount set to
There
it.
you go.
As long as I tackle that daily goal, that turns into my monthly turns into my yearly. But also by writing your goals down, you're allowed to analyze, okay, I was good this year, but I fell off this year. So what's the difference? Oh, I was networking more this year. Oh, I was marketing better this year. You have to have goals and you have to write them down.
Let me give you a round of applause for that one. Look, goals are so important, and a lot of people don't set goals for just in general in their life. If you're going to set a goal, at least set one for your life. Okay, if you have a business, then you set goals for your business and whatever it is that you're doing. So let me ask you this: so you use another buzzword that just always catches me: pivot. Right?
Yes.
Pivoting has to be, to me, is really important because this is the grind of an entrepreneur, right? It's not when it gets too hard, are you going to quit or are you going to pivot, right? And this is those are really the only choices that you got, or you stay too long, or I guess you can stay too long too, and then that's going to make you fail, and then you're going to quit, right?
Exactly.
How have you pivoted when it came to Our Daughter's Destiny? Because I know exactly what it represents and the demographic that it represents. So how did you pivot in that, since it's so specific to the people that you deal with? So how did that happen?
I have to pivot almost monthly when it comes to ODD, just because once again, it's not about me. So if I see that my clients are coming to me and they need a specific thing and it's a large percentage of them, then I pivot in my business to serve my target audience.
Nice.
They are who run your business. Your business pays your bills. So if you're not serving the needs of your target audience, then what are you doing? You know, so you have to pivot in your business. For example, another example of pivoting on a larger scale, 2020, everything shut down, right? So I'm like, okay, this gives me the opportunity to really nitpick my business and see what I need to improve on. During when I first started, I was only serving women, but we got so many requests to serve both men and women that I was able to pivot during 2020. I was able to change from just serving women to now serving women and men.
Yeah.
So I always say, as an entrepreneur, you have to pivot.
Yeah, for sure.
You have to change it. And that's the great thing about being an entrepreneur. You can't go to work and then to a 9 to 5 and say, oh, I think I want to change positions. I want to do something different today.
Yeah.
They're going to look at you like you're crazy. But as an entrepreneur, that's a blessing. You have that opportunity to change your business and do whatever you need to do with it. So pivot.
Yeah, for real. Okay, so I got there's another little something that you touched on again.
Yes.
Serving a need, right? So for you entrepreneurs out there, if you're starting a business and your business doesn't solve a problem, if it's not useful, it doesn't create value, then you really need to think about what it is that you're doing. Because just based on our conversation, you started ODD because it served a purpose, right? It solved a problem, right? And you seen firsthand what that problem is. And I see so many people doing these turnkey businesses, right? Where they see it somebody's coming on, I can make you 7-8 figures in a month or whatever. All you got to do is just download this. It's going to cost you some money, number one, to get in there. But at the same time, does this business actually solve a problem? Is this business profitable because it solves a big enough problem, or is it even a problem in general, right? I'll give you an example of a clothing brand, right? If you take a clothing brand, like I see a lot of people saying that they have clothing lines, but really what they have is just they're taking some t-shirts and then putting something on there and then they're selling it, right? Which is great. But does that actually solve a problem? So I'll give you the problem that some people see in the clothing business and they solved it. So they made like the booty popper shorts or whatever, right? It's a clothing line, but it also solved a problem for women that got flat asses, right? So it's so, and that's a simple way to just put it. So kudos to you for seeing that problem, that light bulb clicking on, and then you going out and then solving that problem. That's a wonderful thing. And I think what you're doing is you're going to be ultra successful because that problem is created by a certain person, but there's always going to be a need for it because there's always going to be people that need reentry. And they need a helping hand, right? So what type of services do you offer? Like, how quick do you actually get to these people before you can start offering them services? And then what type of services do you offer?
Yeah. So we get them, we get most of our referrals from RCCC. So they come in, social worker contacts us, and or the inmate will actually reach out, call us collect and let them, let us know that they're getting out within a certain amount of days. So we service them as soon as they get out.
Nice.
We put together a goal plan, right? Gotta write it
Goals.
down,
Yep.
gotta have goals. According to their needs. So we address their needs, we see what they are, and then we move forward. Primarily, we focus on career preparation. So we don't want you to just get any old job. We want you to get a career.
Nice.
We want you to have a trade. We want you to go back to school. We want you to start your own business, things that have financial stability, right?
Nice.
That's what we want to create for
Yeah.
our clients. But it takes a lot. You can't just give someone a job and then expect them to be successful, right? Because same thing that happened with me when I got out. Yeah, I qualified for a lot of jobs, even with my record. However, I had so much going on outside of that I wasn't able to stay in one job consistently. So we do offer wraparound services, mental health services. We help with immediate care as far as food, clothing, shelter. We do support groups. So anything as far as supportive services we give our clients.
Wow, that's extensive, and that's like a lifesaver. That's like a lifeline, because I've known people that got out of prison and they're still struggling.
Yeah.
To this day, even if they've been out for a few years, you know what I mean? Sometimes they still kind of struggle a little bit. So how do you okay, let's say this. There's people that get out of jail and they actually don't want the services. Do you ever come across that?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you deal with that?
We meet people where they're at,
Gotcha.
and all of our staff has either been formerly incarcerated or has family members who have experienced being incarcerated. So we have a no tolerance. We know you teeter-totter. We know that there might be a chance of you going back in, but if you want the help, we're here to give it to you times 10.
Gotcha.
If you don't want the help, we'll see you when you are ready.
Nice.
So we make sure that we do a screening to make sure that one, we can kind of get a sense of if they're ready or not. We have them come in, we have them do an assessment. So we really work with them. We really get to know the person before we offer services.
Gotcha.
But we can move as quick or as slow as you want. But we just meet people where they are. If they're not ready, we're very vocal. Hey, I see that you have a lot going on. Here's our number, email our emergency hotline if you ever need to reach us. But at this moment, we don't think that you're ready to move forward, because we have to serve people wholeheartedly. We have to serve everybody, but we'd rather serve someone who's ready for the services than someone who just wants a free food basket.
Yeah. And that's another thing too, because you have to, in order to, I guess, get yourself out of any situation, you got to be ready to do it. Number one, you got to want to do it, and then you have to make the decision to do it, right? So people can put you in any sort of program. If you're not ready to do it, you're not going to do it. You're going to resist, right? So let me ask you this. So from when you started ODD to now, how would you gauge your success? Would you say where you want to be? Do you have things? I'm pretty sure you got goals and you want to get bigger, but how would you gauge your success from then until now?
I would say that As far as my plan for when I first started,
Mhm.
I've met my goal and I've exceeded it. So I would say that we're successful from my plan then. But
Mhm.
once again, we plan on taking this outside of California, different
Nice.
counties, and making it like a US thing. So I would say my success is it's a marathon. So it's still going. I
Mhm.
wouldn't say I'm successful, but I'm on my route to success for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your definition of success? Let's start with that.
Financial freedom for me and my family,
Nice.
right? I have a purpose. I want to be able to live in that wholeheartedly, full time, but also not have the stress of the world. So I can only do that with financial freedom.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. See, I like that too. And there's a guy, his name is Earl Nightingale. His definition of success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal.
Wow.
And what that means is it doesn't matter if you're a school teacher. It doesn't matter if you're picking up dog poop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If
Yeah.
you're doing what you want to do and you're headed in that direction by setting up goals, then by his definition, you're successful.
Right.
Right. So how many people I know people, I know I was one of those people that I wasn't happy ever working for anyone.
Yeah.
I was miserable. I
Yeah.
wasn't a good employee, number one, because I'll be cool for a second and they start talking to me
Yeah,
about
right.
numbers. And I'm like, hold up, I just made you how much? And how much am I getting? Okay, I'm about to start stealing some tissue.
Right.
You know what I mean? So what's the difference between so what I'm doing, I'm starting something called marketing motivation.
Okay.
So this is going to be the theory of bringing you to market, right?
Yeah.
Or oneself to market. No matter if you're an employee, no matter if you're a business owner, entrepreneur, brand owner, whatever the case, the most important part in this is going to be you, right? The way you represent yourself, the way you market yourself. Because if you're going to a job interview, you're marketing yourself, whether you want to believe it or not. You are always the CEO of you.
You, right.
So I forgot where I was going with that. but, but so let's so like when it comes to just doing business in general, like how do you put yourself in the position to be successful? Because there's one thing to start a business, there's one thing to have a product, which you have. How do you put yourself in the way of success? Because you have to be able to navigate in this world. You can't just start a business and sit down. So what do you do um to help you be successful?
Yeah. Network. Network,
Let me give you a
network,
round of applause for
network.
that.
I tell people all the time, like networking is your net worth.
Yep.
I've gotten so many opportunities just by meeting the right people,
Yep.
telling them my purpose, telling them what I want to do,
Mm-hmm.
and allowing them to serve me in whatever way, right? Whether it be just putting my information on their social media, whether
Mm-hmm.
it be giving me a grant opportunity or whatever the case may be. You have to network. You have to network. Also know your competition,
Mm-hmm.
know who's doing good in your market. And not, once again, be humble.
Yeah.
Contact them, send an email. You'll be surprised as to how much support people that you don't know will give you support.
Yep.
Sometimes they support you more than the people that you do know.
Yep.
So I would just say that networking, and just be humble to be a student
Nice.
and learn from people in your market.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I call that recon. So I do when I started my business, I did recon. I was doing like billboards and stuff like that, right? But I had no clue. There was nobody doing what I was doing here in the city. There were people that had billboards, but not the ones I had. So I had to hop on the phone. I had to call these billboard companies, and sometimes it took them like 3-4 weeks to actually get back to me.
Yeah.
But the reason why I was doing that, because I want to know how to position myself in this market, whether that's pricing, whether that's placement, or just who am I going to reach out? Who's my demographic? Who are the ones that are actually paying for this type of stuff, right? And you have to do that type of work being an entrepreneur, or you're not going to succeed. Period. You got to get up, you got to go out there, and you have to hustle. What does a hustle look like for an entrepreneur? Because people, you can say hustle, but then like to me is what I just described, right? You trying to scratch and you trying to claw to get yourself to somewhere. And you can't hustle if you don't have a goal. I'm just gonna keep it real. So what does a hustle look like for you as being an entrepreneur?
Hustle for me is leaving in the morning and not coming back until my goal is reached.
Mm.
I don't care what I have to do, who I need to contact, how far I need to commute. I have this goal,
Mm-hmm.
even if it's to talk to 3 people. I will go to a coffee shop, mall, a networking event, whatever. I will not come back home until my goal is reached.
Wow, that's discipline.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, that's another thing for me right there too. Discipline.
Yes, you have to have discipline because who's there to hold you accountable in entrepreneurship?
Nobody.
But yourself.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So if you don't have determination, if you don't have hustle, if you don't have drive, if you don't have ambition,
Yeah.
you might not be here too long.
Yeah,
You know?
for real. So look, so if you don't have any goals, if you're stuck being an entrepreneur, if you're stuck being a business owner, listen, at the very least, if you wake up in the morning and you don't know what it is that you're doing, at the very least, go out and go meet somebody.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
Just go meet somebody.
Yes.
What is that called? Eventbrite. I go to Eventbrite and I sign up for every mixer that's on there.
Everywhere.
You know what I'm saying? Every
Yeah.
single one, because that's the way you meet people.
Yeah.
Right? Or even go to just just go meet people that are like you.
Yeah.
And you'll be surprised who you run into.
And be in spaces that are related to what you're doing.
Yep.
If you're a personal trainer, how come you don't go to 5 different gyms
Yep.
a day?
Yep.
You know, if you sell clothes, how come you're not going to other boutiques, shaking hands with other boutique owners? It doesn't always have to be competition.
Yep.
Because guess what? Okay, you meet that person, you have some inventory that's sitting at the house. You met Stacy last week. It's not selling on your website, but it fits her target audience. So sell it to Stacy.
There you go.
You made your sale.
Yep.
You might have not have sold it to a customer, but you still made your sale.
Yeah.
You got to be strategic.
Yeah. And you can be affiliated with other people too. You have to
Absolutely.
be able. I'm competitive,
Yeah.
but I'm not in the business to be competitive,
Yeah.
if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Because that right there, when you're competitive, number one, you kind of tear down everything behind you.
Yeah.
You know, number one, you tear down the person and the people that you're competing against, right?
Absolutely.
I'm with creation. You created something,
Yeah.
right? You seen the need, you created it. We got a couple of little people from the tracks from the chat too. Let me see. Oh yeah, he said networking was a great answer. Yes, be humble, be a student. Yes, for sure. Entrepreneurship, you have to be able to take risk.
Yes.
Oh, hey, I like that one. I'm gonna give you a round of applause for that one.
Yes.
Let's talk about risk, because just me personally, I put everything into this. I remember watching what is it? There's a show that I love called The Prophet. I'm not sure. Have you ever seen that show?
No, I've heard of it, but I haven't.
That show is phenomenal. He's a business owner. He's multi-millionaire, and he goes around and he partners up with these failing businesses, and then he helps them succeed. He helps them get to a certain level. Shark Tank.
Yes.
I love watching Shark Tank. I love watching things on business. Like I'll be sitting there, I'm just stuck on. I'll watch every single episode in one night. So risking it all. I just watch some of these business owners sit there and break down and cry because they risked everything. They put every last dollar in there when they're just like, I had $50,000 and my last $50,000 I put it in here. You know what I mean? They're really emotional about it. You know what I mean? And I always was like, man, I want to know what that feeling's like. You know what I mean? Because to me, that's what entrepreneurship is, when you just risk it all. You know what I mean? So have you done that? You know what I mean? Have you put it all on the line?
Yeah, I was after I got out, I started my organization. I was still trying to figure it out. So I was still working a 9 to 5. I was just doing my business part-time. And I was in finances. I worked for a credit union. And I was good at it, you know. Part of being an entrepreneur, you have to know how to be a leader. So it's naturally in me. So I can pretty much do anything I put my mind to.
Yes.
But I got to a point to where there was a great opportunity for me to partner with someone. And it required me to be at their office from 9 to 3. That is basically bank hours, right?
Yes.
Bank is open from like 9 to 5. Exactly at that time, I was getting promoted to a personal banker. So I would be making great money, getting great benefits. But it was either start my business or, continue my business full time and give up my 9 to 5
Mhm.
or give up my business and work my 9 to 5.
Mm.
Mind you, at this time, I'm like, I've worked up to this point. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I've built this company, I felt like. So I had to really to go back and forth. But I sat down with the manager and I'm like, hey, I got this really good opportunity, but it conflicts with the hours. I would be giving up everything, my
Mhm.
income. I'm like, but if I don't, I might regret it later on.
Mhm.
So, mind you, my manager had been there since she was 18. She was well in her 40s. And she said, you know what, Cherell, we'll always be here. This company will always be here. I've been here since I was 18. But that opportunity may not.
Yeah.
So I want you to take that risk.
Mm.
So I thought about it, I prayed about it, and I did it.
Nice.
And that partnership ended up not going as planned, but I ended up giving an even bigger partnership, and I was paid more than I would have been paid as a personal banker.
Nice.
But there was 2-3 months of struggling.
Yeah.
Right? I was living off of whatever I had made in my 401k.
Yeah.
But it was risk.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it worked out.
Yeah. And I've been there before too, where I had to sit there, I had to pray about some stuff. I had to really take a look at, what this opportunity could do.
Yeah.
And then again, I did the same thing. I risked it all
Yeah.
and it didn't work out. But then
Yeah.
I ended up getting a better opportunity down the line, which is really great. And that's the way it works too.
Yep.
You have to stay faithful to what it is that you're doing, because if you don't, then you're not going to be aware of the opportunities when they come to you.
Absolutely.
And being a business owner, a lot of the times, is really about awareness.
Mhm.
You can just do business with your head down and you're not really paying attention and not be aware of the things that can really help you out, or the people that can help you out. You know what I mean? So again, I commend you for that. And you're sharing some really good insight on what it is to be a business owner, what it is to be an entrepreneur, because you're getting down to some of the things that people can take right now and then actually use it and be aware of the things that that you've dealt with.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. This is a tough one. Have you ever quit?
Never quit. Never quit, but I did get distracted. And I do, lose my faith. So I put my business on the back burner. Worked here and there. I was a dibble dabbler, when I still worked my 9 to 5. But you can't quit when it's bigger than you,
It won't let you.
it won't let you.
Yeah.
It really, really won't. There were times where I thought about it. I'm just like, no, let me just work this. Let me just do this. But that month, boom, 5 clients.
Yeah.
Like, okay, they need me. So never quit, but I definitely did get distracted by life.
Yeah.
But what ultimately ends up happening with that is life just continues to go on,
Yeah.
right? But then you lost your purpose, you lost your job, and then now you're just depressed. You're working a job that you don't want to be into, like you touched on earlier, right? So I'd rather go through life and do something that I'm happy than go through life and be miserable.
Yeah.
So.
And you'll be surprised what you can do if you just take that little bit of a risk. You'll be surprised how easy it is to maintain the same lifestyle that you were when you were getting paid.
Yeah.
They're not paying you that much compared to what you can actually make outside of working and depending on your hustle.
Exactly.
Because I can really I'm sorry, go ahead. You had something?
And you're able to negotiate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're stuck at that $28 an hour till they decide to make you more. If you hustle hard enough, like I said, if I wake up tomorrow and I'm like, you know what? I need to come back in the house with at least $5,000. Guess what? I'm gonna make it happen.
Yep.
But I can't do that at a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
I'm stuck at whatever wage I signed off on.
Yep.
So
That's real.
yeah.
And then on top of that, you're gonna be unhappy. I've had days where I made just about as much money as I made a month in one day being on my own.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So that's how fruitful it can be. It's not every day, you know what I'm saying? But you have days where it's like, damn, if I was working here, I would have made this in a month, and I just made this in a day.
Yep.
Like, just one of the most beautiful things ever. And that's why it's I can't give this up.
No.
And it ain't even all about the money to me.
No.
It's about doing whatever I want to when I want to. I show up when I want. I leave when I want. I do what I want. I do what I want.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
right.
I don't have to I eat when I want to.
Yes.
I can go to sleep when I want to.
Yeah.
I don't have to set an alarm clock if I don't want to. You know what I mean? So it just really gives you freedom. And I'm not telling everybody like this is just for me. You know what I mean? Like me, I don't like to get up super early in the morning.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's some people that do, but there's a lot of people that tell you if you want to be successful that you need to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. You know what I mean? Which that's cool. But to me, like if that ain't what you want to do, you're not going to be happy doing it just because somebody told you to do it.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So just do what makes you happy, and you have to find out what makes you happy.
You have to. You have to. And of course, I share a little bit. I was a new single mom when I first started my business. Um, Working a 9 to 5, it was childcare.
Oh
Very,
yeah.
very expensive.
Hmm.
And then I missed out time and opportunities to see my daughter grow.
Yeah.
Now she comes to the office with me. Now we plan field trips around my client schedule. Now she's able to see what mommy does every day,
Yeah.
and she appreciates things more. So
Mm.
it really helps when you're a woman, you're a single woman, you're a single woman with kids. It helps being
Yeah.
able to have that freedom with your schedule.
Yeah, for sure. And that's one of the things that's big for me too, because if you have kids, you have to be that example.
Yes.
And to me, we don't have enough, especially in our community, we don't have enough examples of people like you and people like me and people like my boy D-Nail over here in the chat. It's really and it's a simple thing. You know what I mean? There's people that look like us that are successful,
Yes.
but it's not publicized.
Yep.
Like the NBA player,
Yep.
it's not publicized like the basketball player or the football player. So what we do is we push this on our kids, right? And then we push it on our kids, and they kind of do the music thing kind of on their own just because it's influential. But then they hold on too long, or they don't have any other example of what somebody that looks like us can actually be.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So I think what you're doing is great because that gives young Black ladies, soon to be women,
Yes.
an opportunity to do something other than what is promoted, right?
Exactly.
You know, I'll look on my Facebook. I just did not Facebook, my Instagram. I think that's what it was. I hit one button on there, and the only thing I seen was half naked women
Yeah.
all up and down there. You know what I mean? I'm like, wow. And this is what is being promoted,
It is.
right? And it is what it is. If they're making money on that, whatever, I don't care. It ain't none of my business anyway. But I think in order to combat that, we have to combat it with something that's a little more positive. We don't have to take our clothes off to make money.
Absolutely.
We don't have to do those type of things. So what's your thought on just being a role model? You have a daughter,
Yes.
right? And being a role model for her. And then there's also other people looking. So what are your thoughts on just being that person? Are you comfortable with that?
I don't know if I would be comfortable. I am with my daughter,
Yeah.
right? Because I want to be the best example that I can. And these kids these days are spoiled. My daughter is one of them. But I'm glad that I'm able to show her that she can have the things that she wants. She doesn't have to take her clothes off. She
Yeah.
doesn't have to dance. She doesn't have to do these things. She can just use her brain. She can be educated.
There you go.
And run her business in order to have nice cars, big houses, things of that nature. But as far as being a role model for the general public, I just try to remain myself at all times,
There you go.
know. And if you're inspired by that, then that's amazing. I appreciate that. And if you're not, then you're not. But I try not to be a role model. I try to just be myself because I feel like that's more inspirational
There you go.
than trying to put together this facade that I can't uphold in real life outside of IG.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? That's I like the way you said that. That was really cool because it is a lot of a responsibility to put yourself in the light like that and then label yourself as this role model or whatever. Then you got to live up to that, right?
Yeah.
So that I like the way you put that because if you just be the best version of yourself, naturally people are going to see that and then they can decide if they if they
No.
exactly. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's like the best way to go because there's just so much going on out there and a lot of it is it just blows my mind. The world that we live in today, the things that we can say, the things that we can't say, the things that we can believe in, the things that we can't believe in. Like it really is like a fine, like we're walking this tightrope, especially in business, because you can offend one person and then they come after you for everything. You know what I mean? Like you make one mistake or you have one belief that is not in harmony with somebody else's belief system, and then they come after you and attack. when you're a person too that has your own beliefs and your own systems that you have the right to have,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? It's like it's really hard to navigate. Have you been affected by anything like that since you've been in business?
Yeah, just because I am in the business of serving others, not everybody has great intent, right? Like we talked about earlier, not everybody is ready to be helped.
Yeah.
So sometimes when clients don't get exactly what they want, they do, attack us. But once again, it's just remaining myself. Me and my whole team, we're very down to earth, and we're just honest. So usually, like, I had a client, I can't really say too much, but I had a client that was really, really upset, and she sent me a nasty email. But my response was, hey, I get it.
Yeah.
Been there, done that, I understand. However, we do have rules, we do have guidelines, we do have policies in place.
Yeah.
I can do whatever I can to help you, but unfortunately, policies have been broken. So usually when you approach people like that, once again, just remaining yourself and being yourself, people are going to research you as an entrepreneur,
for sure.
Unfortunately. So just make sure that everything that you do behind closed doors is the same thing that you do on IG, Facebook, and anywhere else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because when you're naturally yourself and you're naturally not serving with ill intent, or you're not out here trying to do people bad, it'll show.
Yeah,
and if
for
you
sure.
are, then it'll show, and karma will do what karma does. But the more you kind of just put yourself out there and show people your genuine personality, you don't get too much of that, because people know, they know, like, okay, she really didn't have any ill intent, or it really wasn't meant to be taken that way, or things of that nature. But also just communicating. But I've dealt with a little bit of that, not too much, just because we are so upfront and honest and helpful, and those who get it, and those who don't.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people that happens to, they kind of go out looking for that too.
Yeah.
Because I haven't experienced that either, but I was trying to get my book published like nationwide and all that. And this lady calls me up and she was like, hey, you had a good website. I like your Instagram. I like your Facebook. I like this. I like that. I like this. You had this for dinner last night. I'm like, damn, like, really? I just sent you an email. I didn't even put none of that information in there. And she literally researched me up and down to see if I was a good fit for their publishing program or something like that. But that right there was like, I don't put no crazy stuff on there anyway. So I was, thank God for that. But man, people really do. They'll look. Yeah.
You are your business.
Yeah. And they'll use it against you at some point. If the wrong person's looking up your stuff, they'll use it against you. You know what I'm saying? So I'm glad I don't use, I cuss a little bit. I like cussing. You know what I'm saying? I don't care about that. But good thing, most of the time I just put inspirational stuff on there and I just stay me.
Yep.
I'm not trying to offend anyone. I'm not trying to partner up with any one organization that represents something that's just far left or far right. I just do me, which is pretty much neutral. You know what I mean? So let me ask you this. So you mentioned that you do business consulting as well.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about that, because that is a very valuable person in this world, especially when a lot of people are starting their business up, but they really don't understand business. So let's talk about your business consulting.
Yeah. So I specialize in nonprofits and charitable organizations, just because that is my primary business. But I help businesses find a structure, find a plan, and then get legit. I get a lot of new clients who just have an idea, and that's totally fine. We'll work it out. I'll kind of turn your idea into an actual business. Or they have a business, but they don't know where to go for licensings and things of that nature. And then they don't know how to build business capital, stuff like that. So I'll take your business from where it's at and actually build it into a profitable business. So that's primarily what I do.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's hands up. Give you a hand for that too. That's dope. That's dope. That's something that we need more of.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I know when I first started my business, I was lost. I had no clue. You know what I mean? Now I know a bunch of I would about to say billionaires, but I know a lot of business people, you know what I mean, that you can go to and you can ask them questions. You know what I mean? Don't be afraid to ask questions, and don't be afraid to ask for help.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Because this is one of them things where people that are like you, that are entrepreneurs, when you reach out and talk to other entrepreneurs, they understand that there's this process that you have to go through in order to be successful.
Yep.
And sometimes they recognize within you what part of that process you're in.
Yeah.
You know, you have the idea, and then, you know, you're all gung ho about it. You know what I mean? You might have some temporary success like at the beginning to make you feel real good, but then just like that, you know what I mean? Then all of a sudden you're struggling. You're like, damn. You know what I mean? Then you got to keep fighting to get out of that struggle, right? Some of us are in that struggle right now, and I'm gonna tell you to keep on going because you just have to. You have to.
You have no other choice.
Yeah, it'll keep calling you if you don't. If you stop now, there's a story, 3 feet from gold. I'm gonna tell you guys about that in a minute. One of the most beautiful stories ever, but it really is a symbolism of once that struggle gets really hard, you may just be right there, and a lot of people turn around and somebody else comes in, swoops it up. You know what I'm saying? What else do you got going on? You got a boutique as well, right?
Yes, I have a boutique that we're relaunching. Once again, I had to pivot, right? So we are relaunching it in spring.
Nice.
And it is just business attire that you can wear for ladies, that you can wear out and have a drink,
Nice.
have a cocktail afterwards. So it's evening attire, but also gives a little bit of business vibe to it.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. I like that. I like that. That's dope. And then, you know, especially for business people, again, you have that target that you're trying to reach, right? It's not just so, it's not so broad. It's really targeted at something really specific, right? So in business, sometimes I know I struggle with like, what the hell am I going to wear? You know what I mean? Sometimes I want to go professional. Sometimes I just wear this little Mickey Mouse hat and sweater. You know what I mean? Like sometimes I struggle with, I guess, my identity as a business person. You know what I mean? So really, I guess it's situational.
Yep.
You know, for what I'm doing, I'll dress up for that occasion. That's great that you put that together for, you know, that population. Do you have any more word? Do you have any advice for any upcoming entrepreneurs?
Any advice? Two things. One, I can't say it enough: network, network, network. If someone is willing to give you information, advice, take it, and be in the rooms that you need to be in for the opportunities. The second thing would be just do it. I meet so many entrepreneurs who have amazing ideas, and if they would have started when they talked to me 2-3 years ago, they'd be very profitable right now. So I would say just do it. Start off with little goals. You don't have to quit your job or do anything dramatic. But you can just set a goal to make $100 off your business for the month. And once you hit that goal, just keep going.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. When you made your first money off being an entrepreneur, like how did that feel?
Man, it was so different for both of my businesses. With ODD, getting my first contract, that was like, it paid off. You know, because I've been doing it for so long. So actually someone saying, oh my God, like you're legit, your structure, your everything, your business is valuable to where we want to pay you for 2-3 years down the line. That was amazing. That one was a tearjerker. That one made me cry. And then with my boutique, it was just like, oh, you like what I like? Because I think of my boutique as more of like a hobby for me. Because I love clothes, I love fashion. So when I first did my first launch, I almost sold out. So to have that done, it wasn't even about the money. It was like, okay, I can do this. I can make money off of a hobby. You know, so two different reactions. But amazing feeling. You know.
Let me ask you this too, since you said that and you have multiple things going on. In my journal, I'm gonna show you guys a little copy, a little quick little promo, real quick.
Yes.
This guy right here, The Secret of Thinking and Growing Rich. In here, I have something what I call a multiple source of income chart, right? And what it does is it helps you set up multiple sources of income. It's not going to tell you what to do, but if you were to start multiple sources, it kind of gives you a blueprint on where you need to start, right? How would you? So you obviously have multiple things going on, which is going to equate to multiple sources of income. How do you like having multiple sources of income? I'm just going to be direct.
If you know what, it adds to that financial freedom, right? But you have to be very organized. You have to be organized because if you're not, everything's kind of jumbled together. You're going to get overwhelmed and then you're going to want to quit or give up on one or the other. But it's hard. It really is hard, but it's I I have the tools in place now for it to run successfully.
Yeah.
So I would say if you do have a business and you're thinking about opening another business, or you're just thinking about launching a few, be organized, be intentional, have a plan in place.
Yeah.
Because if not, things can get real ugly real quick.
Real quick. Trust me, I know. I
Yes.
tried to do too much I thought for some reason that I was in a different part of my life than I was when I was younger. Just because I'm older, I'm a lot wiser.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there thinking like, okay, I can do all this at one time.
Yeah.
And then all that at one time. Mentality, everything happens at one time, and it's not always necessarily good. Sometimes it's bad, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's
Yeah.
it's the opposite. When it hits, boom, like you like, uh-oh, damn, I thought I could do this. Like I had things going on where I was neglecting other things, you know what I mean? And then neglecting other things, it's still kind of it business turns into its own living, breathing thing.
Yeah,
Whether you want to believe it or not, it really does. It takes on a mind of its own, you know.
And don't be, I know for me, especially ODD, it was like my baby.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to do everything myself, my way, just so I know that it would get done.
Mm-hmm.
But don't be afraid to delegate.
Yeah.
You know, don't be afraid if you're opening that third business to bring in a partner that you know that's successful in business.
Yep.
Because if not, what'll happen is you'll give 10% in an area where you should have given 100%.
Yes.
So now you're putting out poor products.
Yep.
Or now you're not giving 100% to your clients. And that gives out what? That's one bad Yelp review.
Yeah.
Now you're crushed. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So you rather give that 100%. If you know you can't give your 100% to that second, third, fourth business, don't do it. Get
Yeah.
a business partner, strategize, wait a while.
Yep.
But always give 100%.
Yeah. And if you're going to have multiple businesses, make sure your main business is up,
Yes.
fully running and running by itself.
Fully functioning.
Yeah.
It's
Because
its own animal.
yeah, because if
Yeah.
you try to trust me, I know if you try to start something else while you're building something else, you can't really you can't be one person trying to build two things at one time.
Absolutely not.
And it's not to say that you can't, you know what I mean? But you'll be much better off by building this and then moving on. And then, you know what I mean? Just build, you know what I mean? Like,
levels.
yeah,
Levels to
yeah,
it.
for sure. So I wanted to ask you as well, we're from the same place,
Mhm.
right? And our community, the Black community,
Yes.
right? There's a lot of things that go on in our communities that I necessarily don't agree with. I have I guess a theory on why it is the way it is, but we have two different kind of perceptions, right?
Yeah.
Let me ask you, if there was one tip that you can give, let's just start with North Highlands, right?
Mhm.
Let's say if you were running the whole entire city,
Mhm.
right? Where would you start to fix what the problems are there?
Let's start with them potholes. How about that?
This Wide Avenue,
No, on a serious note, more resources. More free resources,
Mhm.
right? And more community. I try to always hold my community events and my resources fairs in North Highlands,
Mhm.
and you would be surprised at the love that I get, the
Yeah.
appreciation that I get. And that just shows me that, okay, these people know that they need help, they need assistance. It's just not there.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
So it's just us helping us. So we need to be more supportive for each other.
Yeah.
You know, like where is the community? It's just
Yep.
not there anymore.
Yeah.
So we need to stop being a crabs in a barrel and trying to one outdo the other. And we
Mhm.
need to come together and we need to be a community again.
Yeah.
And then pour back into the community. Because without people like you, myself, trying to make a difference, it's going to continue to be where it is.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, as far as like politics goes, North Highlands is kind of conservative.
Yeah.
People don't know that. So they're not going to do it. So
Yeah.
we have to.
And it's the forgotten city.
Yeah.
Like, if anybody out there ever been to North Highlands, you know what we're talking about. If you're from North Highlands, you know what we're talking about, because being from the early 90s, I've been around North Highlands pretty much, I don't know, 75% of my life,
Yeah.
and it hasn't changed.
Nope.
like that's the most mind-blowing thing. Every other city around North Highlands has had some sort of a new development.
Absolutely.
Antelope booming right now, right? Del Paso Heights, they have new housing developments
Yeah.
all the way up in there. Rio Linda, they have new housing development. They've added new things out there. The only thing I think we've had in the last like 20 some odd years, got a Starbucks.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But like other than that, everything is exactly the same.
Yep.
And there was a plan to I guess reface Watt Avenue, and they actually started. They put like a gate like right in the middle, right there. You know what I'm saying? Then they put like 3-4 palm trees, and I'm
Right.
sitting here, I'm riding down. I'm like, okay, this could be something, but it just stopped.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, man, I that's the place that I really want to change. This is something
Yeah.
near and dear to my heart. And I'm gonna do whatever I can
We
to.
we have to be a community. We have to
Yeah.
talk. We have to speak up for North Highlands, because if not, it'll just continue to go the way that it is. DPH, Oak Park, they all have a very strong community.
Yeah.
They love where they're from.
Yeah.
And they're able to talk to city councils, they're able to talk to assembly members to tell them the needs that need to be put in place.
Yep.
We don't do that,
Not at all.
unfortunately. So once again, we need to come together as a community. We need to come together as taxpayers and say what we need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Our community center does not function. I'm
No.
gonna just say that right now. I've tried to hold events at the community center.
Yep.
I've tried to talk to them about different things.
Yeah.
And the only thing they tell me is it costs $1,300 or something. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the only thing they tell me. Like, okay, where can I come in here to get information? Like, where are the resources for the community? You know, that really need the resources. There's just none. They're not active. Meanwhile, I go to surrounding cities and you ride by their community center at any given time during the week, and especially when they're holding these little meetings and the parking lot is full. But there's always somebody there doing something for those communities. You know what I mean? So if anybody out there is listening and you guys are from North Highlands, man, let's get together.
We need to rally when we go to community center.
Yeah.
Know we have needs.
For real. But so now in closing, we've been doing this for about an hour. See, wasn't as scary as you thought it was, huh?
Oh, yay.
Is there anything that you would like to add? You want to give any shout outs? You want to tell people where they can reach you?
Yeah, so you can follow me on Instagram, THEE as in the Cherell, CHERELL, Marie, like the regular spelling, on IG. If you can DM me for business consultants, that's how you can reach me. Also, if you have anybody that you need to refer to me for ODD, which is Our Daughter's Destiny, you can contact us at our contact link at daughtersdestiny.com.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, I want to thank you so much for joining me on the show.
Yes,
it was a
absolutely.
pleasure. We're going to have to do it again because I'm trying to grow this to something that's going to be worldwide. And it's
And it will.
yeah, I'm hoping so. I'm grinding. I'm grinding. I had to pivot again.
Yes.
And sometimes, you know, even though I was getting ready to leave, I'm back. I ain't going nowhere. But listen,
Going nowhere.
yeah, I think that I think those pivots. Before we go, I want to ask you about that pivoting as well, because some people may not even know when they need to pivot.
Yeah.
What are the key indications that you may need to pivot in your business?
If you're not hitting your goals, which means you're not serving a need.
Mhm.
So find that need again. I would say give it 60 days tops. If you don't hit your monthly goal 2 months in a row, it's time to sit down, grab that pen and paper, and figure out how you need to meet that need. Do your research, start all over. It's the benefit of being an entrepreneur. You can start over, stop, begin, all you want.
Yeah.
So I would say when you're not hitting your goals, whatever those goals may be, pivot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. There you have it. Again, thank you so much for joining us here on the show. Everybody, this is Cherell. Let's give her a round of applause. It was very enjoyable. We had some people in the chat. Thank you guys in the chat for showing up, showing some love. We really appreciate it. I'm gonna give you guys a nice little motivational video to close everything out. And you know, you guys can always check here. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, please like it, please share it. This is going to help us get our watch time hours up. And then that way we can continue to deliver this content. But thank you guys again so much. And then we're going to close out with a motivational video. And I hope you guys have a good one. point being, a human being catches up, and then we can do it again fears will creep up out of nowhere and rock our world.
Yeah.
Speak to you about today is one of the main
That was
fears:
so cool.
the loss of love or the loss of a loved one. At some point in our life, we will experience heartbreak and lose people we love. But one thing to understand is that we have a choice to respond however we want. Despite how TV shows us how to act, despite how the music we listen to tell us how to deal with it, and despite how everyone else around us cope, at the end of the day, we have a choice. The ability to make decisions is one of the greatest freedoms we have as human beings, and it separates us from any other species on Earth. When God made us, He wanted us to understand, understand that we're far more capable of what we've been showing every day. Understand that we will be tested in every single way. And understand that no matter how tall the mountain or how deep the hole, we can and we will overcome as long as you make the decision to overcome. And the faith that no matter the opponent, no matter the obstacle, and no matter how long the road, no weapon formed against you shall prosper. There are no coincidences, and everything happens for a reason. It's up to you to find out what that reason is. There is a fine line between tears of joy and tears of pain. And once we realize that we're in control of both, we can use it to better ourselves, and then we can change the world. The choice is yours. I don't know who needs to hear this, but someone does.
Let me hold you one last time, one last time. Give me one more chance, one last time, one last time.
When you feel like giving up, let me. When you feel you're not strong enough, when you feel like you're down and out, just give it all you got.
Last time.
When you feel like you're losing hope, and you feel like you're losing faith, there's always a bright. Give it.